Hey everyone, welcome to this slow flow practice with me, Mel. A little bit about the class. You may or may not need props. Really, just if you would typically use them, any kind of block-like thing would work. So there's so many things we can substitute there. Otherwise, we're just going to try to unwind and at the same time twist up the body and just get rid of a bit of tension. And we do that through these kinds of movements that encourage the pull in and then the pull out, the expansion. So when you're ready to get started, just find a comfortable seat. Now, if you've got the time and the space to find a more meditative start, you're welcome to recline, find child's pose or similar. But we won't spend that much time here, and more focus will be on the movement. So when you found your seat, if you're comfortable just closing your eyes, let your eyes close, your shoulders soften, your jaw relax. Potentially you might need to move about to encourage that. But by doing this, we just create a little bit of space for us to focus on the breath. As I mentioned, the focus of this practice is more on the asana, the movement. But without the breath, these movements are going to feel a little bit sticky. So I'd really encourage you at all times just to come back to that really deep diaphragmic connection. So that flowing sensation of breath. The breath is moving the body just as much as my voice or the directions of your own body. So really encouraging the chest to rise and fall, the belly to move a little with the breath. A little bit of tension releasing. We'll just take a few more here, maybe using each breath to really just anchor you, soften, keeping you connected to your experience is key. And when you come to the end of your next breath, this is a gentle opening of the eyes. It's a soft little butterfly flutter the eyelids, relax the shoulders, move a little. And then I'll meet you on all fours, so coming to a 4-point pose when you're ready. So as we approach our 4-point pose, we're just going to play around with the shapes. So any kind of movements, forwards and back, side to side, work. And you might even want to just stay doing this, or we'll start to move into some cat-cows. And it's a really good opportunity just to not only move through the spine, but to really establish that breath and movement connection. So as we next breathe in, start to lift the tail, extending the heart forward as you drop the belly, draw the shoulders back, lengthen, take a full breath in. And then as you let go of your exhale, tucking the tailbone round through the spine, press into the hands and drop your head. Now flowing with your own breath here, so inhale, extend through the front of the body. And as you exhale, pressing and rounding through the body, so hollowing out through the front. One more time like this, big breath in. And a big breath out. You can continue doing this, or as you next inhale, lift your tail, drop your belly, pull your heart forward, but also drop your sit bones back. And then as you exhale, round your spine forward, press into the hands, tucking the chin, leaning further forward perhaps. Inhale, lifting the tail, dropping your belly, extending the heart forward, but also coming back. And then exhale, rounding the spine, lifting it to the ceiling, but also coming further forward. Last time, big breath in. And a big breath out, rolling all the way up, maybe slightly further forward. And just coming back into your neutral position. Good opportunity once again to move the elbows and the shoulders and the hips. A little bit of lion's dance perhaps. And spreading the fingers, let's tuck the toes and come straight up into our downward facing dog from here. And as you arrive in down dog, just being really movement focused. So adjust your feet and your hands, your elbows, your knees, your hips. Lift up onto fingertips perhaps. Play around with the shape as best you can. And just when you feel comfortable finding stillness, allow that stillness to land you here. So press into every fingertip. Press into every part of the foot that's touching the earth. And taking just one more full breath in. Stay here for the exhale. And lifting up onto your tippy toes. So to walk your feet all the way to your hands. Come to the top of your mat. And from here, find any shape that resembles a forward fold. So you might feel that you need to use a block or something. You might even want to hold your legs, but just coming into a forward fold shape. You can just bend your knees just to allow your belly to come more towards your thighs. Hold on to opposite elbows or let your arms kind of dangle. And then maybe pedal out your feet, move your hips, maybe your head. Similar to what we did in down dog, it's really just trying to find space in this pose for you. And we'll just take 1 or 2 more breaths here. And just gently releasing your arms. Let's come up to standing. So bend your knees, rolling all the way up. Just take the time to find the height. Give your shoulders a nice big roll. Lift your gaze. Lift your heart and then lift your hands. Sparking your fingers, push your thumbs out, take a big breath in. And then bring your hands together as you breathe out, pressing them together, drop them behind the back of your head. Lift your elbows, lean into your hands, take an inhale, maybe lift your chin. And then exhale like you're doing a big swan dive into the water, come all the way down into a forward fold. Your next inhale, slide your hands up onto your legs, move into a halfway lift. So draw the shoulders back, lengthen through the crown of your head. And then breathing out, bend your knees and come back into your fold. Making your way back into whatever version of a halfway lift you feel comfortable with. So hands grounded, floating or pressing. And then exhale once again, finding your fold. You're going to do that again, halfway lift, but this time bring your hands onto the ground. Shift the weight into the right foot. Slow and steady step your left foot towards the back of your mat as you bend your right knee. Now as the left foot touches down, walk your hands back, drop your back knee. And just allow your hips to move back and forth. So encourage a really natural, dynamic way of opening through your hips. When you can find stillness, push into your right foot, spark your fingers, lift your hands all the way up towards the ceiling. Find height here, take a big breath in, and start to cactus your arms. So bending at the elbow, pulling the elbows back, 90-degree angles for both arms, open up, and then ground your hands onto the earth. Keep your left hand connected to the earth, float your right hand up, find a little twist here, take a big breath in. And then right hand comes onto the right knee as you breathe out. Push into your right knee. Lift your left hand all the way up. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, lean your left hand over to the right a little. Big breath in. And then breath out. Both hands come now onto the inside of your right foot. And start to bring them on a bit of a diagonal, so towards the left corner of your mat. And ground your hands. Feel free to move through the hips still. If they're still not feeling like they really want to get deep, but just keep on the hands. So don't feel like you need to come any lower than this. Push into your right foot and pull your heart forward. If you feel the urge to get a little deeper, you could always drop onto your elbows, or you could reach your arms forward and maybe even think about getting your head a little more connected to the earth. Just taking whatever option feels best for you for just a couple more breaths. And slowly start to come back to center, bringing your hands either side of your front foot. Let's ground the hands, tuck the back toes, and just start to float the back knee up. We're going to press into the hands and come into a 3-legged dog, but straight away start to open up through that right hip. So find a little flex through the foot or some movement, press evenly into the hands, take a big breath in. And then as you breathe out, touch down as many times as you need to, but start to pull your right knee in. And like I said, you can drop the foot or the knee at any time, but bring the right knee across across the body to drop behind the left wrist. Now keep your right hip lifted, lean into that left knee, and then drop onto into the inside of your back foot. Float your left hand up. Now pushing your pelvis forward, press into that back foot, try to find space here, maybe cactus that left arm. Take another big breath in. Left hand comes onto the earth. Just however you get it there, roll onto the ball of your back foot. We're stepping back, finding downward facing dog. Walk your feet in or take them out, just finding your shape. When you're ready to find stillness in your down dog, lift up onto your tippy toes, breath in, and then drop your heels over to the right hand side as you breathe out. Bend your knees, squish yourself towards the back of the mat. Inhale, roll back up onto your tippy toes. And as you exhale, drop your heels over towards the left, squish yourself towards the back of the mat. Inhale, coming back up. Stay on your tippy toes and start to walk your feet all the way back up to your hands. You can drop your heels whenever you want. Find a halfway lift on your breath in. And then fold on your breath out. Coming up to standing, maybe just one big breath to come up. But once again, you can take the time, lead your spine up. And as you exhale this time, hands melt through the heart, come into your fold. On your next inhale, halfway lifting, lean into that left foot, slow and steady step your right foot towards the back of the mat. As your right foot lands, adjust, let that right knee drop. Move back and forth through the hips. Hands either side of the left foot. And once again, important just to let your hips be a little bit more dynamic here. And then slowly finding some stillness, you can untuck your back toes if you want and lift your hands all the way up. Finding height, take a big breath in, then cactus your arms on your exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades. Bring your hands back onto the earth. This time the right hand stays connected down as you float your left hand up towards the ceiling. When you get here, breathe in and then let the left hand come onto your left knee. Push it down and a little forward, lean into it as you reach your right hand up now. Looking over to the left hand side, take your right hand over with you. Take a big breath in. And then as you breathe out, that little cartwheel into the right-hand corner of the mat. So try not to wiggle your left foot out too much. Bring your hands down, placing them so that you're pushing into that left foot. You're feeling quite an intense stretch in the hips, but you're also feeling a lengthening through the front of the body. So pull your heart towards that right-hand side. And you could stay here because it'll probably feel good to stay just here, or drop onto your elbows. Or if you want to, you could reach your arms forward. And just finding a bit of space within that to breathe. So if you're not breathing, just pull it back a little so that you can. And when we say not breathing, we're aware that you're probably actually breathing, but not breathing with intention, so that fullness to your breath. And one more. And start to come back up onto your hands, walking your hands either side of the front foot, coming up, and taking your time to tuck the back toes. We're lifting the back knee and finding that three-legged dog, but let's let that leg just open. Bend the knee, find that flex, move the ankle if we need. And then just as many touchdowns as we need. Pull that left knee in. We're taking it across the body so it lands behind that right wrist. Keep the left hip lifted. Drop onto the inside of your back foot. Float your right arm up. Stay here or cactus and open up through the heart a little more. Take another full breath in. And then that hand comes down to the earth. Make your way back. Downward facing dog. Move and pedal through your feet. And for this next part, if you want to drop to hands and knees, this pose can be done on hands and knees or potentially with your feet a little closer to your hands. Let's press into the left hand now and take the right hand off the mat, bring it underneath us and see if we can grab hold of the outside of our left leg. Now, it doesn't matter where we grab, but pull with that hand and then push with your left. See if you can look under that armpit. Take another full breath here. Then start to release the right hand, bring it back onto the mat, spread the fingers, left hand comes off the ground, hold on to the right leg, push with the right hand and pull with the left. Try to find that little engagement here, a little bit of resistance, push and pull. Another breath. And then bring your left hand back. From here, if you've noticed your feet are a little bit further forward, or if you brought them forward, just send them back again. And then rolling forward into plank, to the top of a push-up. Now tucking the back toes, you can drop your back knees, your only knees. Take an inhale, and then hug your elbows in, lower all the way to the ground. Once you get onto the ground, untuck your toes, leave your right hand where it is, but reach your left hand towards me or towards the left-hand side, like you're really reaching for something. Drop onto your left ear or temple, pick your right leg up, take it all the way over to the left. Now, you might not get that foot on the ground, just think about lifting the knee or drop that foot down. And with that, you might even walk the right hand a little closer to the body. You really want to feel this across the front of the left shoulder. Take a few more breaths. Option, of course, to bring your right hand up. Bring it behind you, thread it underneath the small of your waist. Last breath. And slowly coming back to center. Support yourself with the right hand to roll back onto your belly. Try not to be too quick with it. So take the time to transition. And then when you're ready, bringing your gaze over to the left as you slide your left hand in, reach your right hand out to the side, drop onto your right ear or temple and start to float the left leg up. Just remember, it doesn't need to touch down, but just maybe encouraging it down, pushing into that hand. If it wants to stay up, let it stay up. If you want more, left hand can come up. Bring the hand, tuck it around the small of the waist. And a few more breaths. And then slowly start to make your way back onto your belly. Bring your left hand down. Let it support that process onto the belly. Take it slow. It's really tempting to rush here. And then just dropping your forehead onto the mat, hands underneath the shoulders, unless you need a little bit more time. And when you're ready, roll your shoulders up and back, find cobra. Take a big breath in. And then float your forehead back down as you breathe out. Hop your hands now off the corners of your mat or just slightly forward off the mat so the fingertips are pressing down, elbows are up. Squeeze the shoulder blades, pull your heart up, take an inhale, push the tops of the feet down, and then look over your right shoulder, push your left shoulder and elbow forward. Breath out. Inhale, roll back to center, find that lifting of the heart forward, then look over your left shoulder as you push your right elbow and shoulder forward. Inhale, coming back, squeeze your glutes a little, push the tops of the feet down, lift as high as your back wants you to, and then exhale, drop the forehead down, hands underneath shoulders. Roll your shoulders up and back, cobra pose, breath in. Tuck your toes, coming back via all fours, or push back, downward facing dog. Take a breath or two here, then inhale, float your right leg up, bend your right knee, open up through that hip. Take another full breath in, and then with control, so if you need to drop the foot down, go ahead, but pull the right foot forward. Bring it onto the outside of your right hand. Turn the right toes out, the heel slightly, and drop your left knee. Hands underneath shoulders or anywhere around there as we come into a low lizard. So from here, you can just drop down through the heart, but staying on the hands, pushing into that foot. Or maybe you might feel inclined to drop onto your elbows, let your head come down. Few breaths here. Feel free to move about if this is feeling a little bit intense. Sometimes just being a bit more active in our dynamic intention feels a little better. And then slowly start to come back up onto your hands. From here, left hand will stay grounded underneath the left shoulder, and then float your right hand up towards the ceiling, come into a twist. Stay here. You could always cactus your right arm, or try to pick up that left foot and grab hold of it with the right hand, encouraging the pull back. Yeah. Take a big breath in. And breath out, bring the right hand down. Let's tuck those left toes, float that knee up, lift the right leg back. Let's just come into a downward facing dog. Pedal your feet, move your hips. And inhale, lift up onto your tippy toes. Drop your knees down to the mat. Let's come into melting heart. So keeping the knees underneath the hips, walk your hands forward. Now you can drop onto your forehead, your chest, your chin, or you could use your hands. Just coming as low as you like, so you could even let your head just float here. If you're coming down, chin might tuck. Just finding that space and lifting those sit bones. Take another full breath in. Hold for the exhale. Then walk your hands in towards you so that they're back underneath the shoulders. Arrange it so that you feel really stable. Lean into your left hand and float your right hand up. Exhale, right hand comes underneath the left shoulder. Drop onto your right ear or temple. Now lean your hips a little to the right and maybe reach your left hand to the top of the mat. You can look up if that feels good, or just forward. Take another full breath in here. And breath out, left hand comes underneath the left shoulder, press into it, right hand comes back up. Exhale, right hand comes down. Take your right foot over to the right hand side, tuck those toes, extend your left leg towards the back of the mat, float your left arm up towards the ceiling. You can once again look up. You could also just keep your arm here or reach it towards the front of the mat, or maybe even float your back leg up. Bend the knee, try to hold on to your left foot with your left hand. Now from here you can think about pulling the foot in, squeezing the shoulder blades, opening up the heart. Take another full breath in. And then breath out, letting the foot go, letting the hand go, coming back onto all fours, drop the hand, pulling the knees in, right foot comes back. Take a breath in to maybe lengthen your heart, then lift the tail, press back, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in and out. Left leg comes up, big breath in. Bend the knee, let that hip open. Now take the time here, but starting to pull the knee forward. Touch down at any time. Really use all the space you need. Step the foot on the outside of the left hand, drop your back knee. Feel free to stay on the hands or move about, or just go ahead and get straight into the depth that you're looking for here. And just taking a few breaths. It's never a bad idea just to close down the eyes and just really allow your body to kind of melt into it, noticing and observing all of the sensations that kind of pop up, arise. Maybe you're feeling like you've got other things you could be doing, or you're noticing things, who knows. Maybe you're just thinking about the next progression. Whatever it is, just noticing. And then try to bring it back to the breath. Final breath here. And then start to come up onto the hands. Stay on your right hand. Float your left hand up towards the ceiling. Once again, stay here. You could cactus that arm, or you could try to grab hold of that back foot, holding on to it, pulling it out, maybe looking back, opening through the front of the body as best you can. And take another full breath in. Let that go as you breathe out. Ground the foot, hand comes down, back knee floats up, downward facing dog, step all the way back, walking, moving if you need to. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, drop your knees down onto the earth. Leaning into your left hand, untuck your toes perhaps, reach your right hand up, and then bring your right hand down. Inhale, float your left hand up. Exhale, bring your left hand down. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward, melting heart. Exhale. Take a full breath in and out. And when you're ready, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Lean into your right hand, float your left hand up towards the ceiling. Big breath in. And big breath out, left hand comes underneath. Drop onto your left ear or temple, pressing into your right hand. Or maybe reach your right hand towards the top of the mat. Lean your hips a little to the left. Take another couple of breaths here. And then right hand comes underneath right shoulder. Float your left hand back up on the inhale. Exhale, left hand meets the earth. Take your left foot over to the left hand side. Lean into the left hand. Float your right leg and arm open. Now stay in whatever option you were on the other side, or maybe you feel a bit more adventurous on the side. That's okay. Or maybe even picking up that right foot, try to hold on to it. Pull the heel in towards the sit bone. Perhaps squeeze the shoulder blades. Take another full breath in. And breath out, bringing it back. Bring the hand back, bring the knee back, adjusting the left foot. Take a moment here, wiggle about, maybe some hip figure eights or some cat-cows, any kind of natural movement for you. And then take your knees out wide, drop your hips to your heels, walk your hands forward, child's pose. And if you want to, you could even bring your hands stacked on top of one another. Bring your forehead onto your hands. Close your eyes again. And just come back to this place where we feel that we can be with our breath. And depending on your situation, you might find you've got a lot of time here. You've got maybe no one around, and it might be a good opportunity to come into Shavasana, come into a reclined position. If that is not something that's going to be possible for you, just staying in your child's pose for as many breaths as you can. Just really trying to close your eyes and sink into the experience. Notice your hips and the sides of your body. Most importantly, your breath. You might find that you want to make your way up into a seat and spend a few breaths upright. Just trying to get that consistency and that rhythm with the breath. Whatever option we've chosen to finish this class in, as I mentioned, you're welcome to take as long as you can here, depending on the situation around you, the environment you're in. But if you're needing to move back into the space, starting to make your way up into that seat, gently blinking open your eyes. Move about as much as you need to. And I just want to thank you for joining me today in this online situation. My name is Mel, as I mentioned. Thank you again. Namaste.